Hi everyone, welcome to On the Other Hand. I'm Ariane Zurcher, and today I'm going to be talking about color. So I'm going to bring out a couple of different backgrounds, and then I'm going to show you what I do when I am trying to figure out which threads to pull for a project. The big thing about color is, of course, it's all subjective. So something that I don't find particularly appealing, someone else may find extremely appealing, and that's the beauty of it. We get to choose what feels most rewarding or interesting for ourselves. And that's really the only person we should be trying to please. Chances are, if you like it, there are going to be other people who like it as well. And hopefully that'll be interesting. Don't forget to hit that like button, click on the subscribe button, and leave me comments in the comment section. Tell me what you think. If there's a video that you'd like me to do of a stitch or anything else, let me know in the comment section. Can I just say that one of the beauties of videotape is everything that you don't see. So for example, I thought when I was planning out today's video that I needed to change because the dress I have on is an old dress and it's got a huge stain in the front. And then I remembered that this video will not be showing that part of the dress and no one will see it. So there's that. And then there's the fact that I didn't want to have to put on shoes. So I'm actually barefoot. There are all kinds of other things that this video doesn't reveal or that I edit out, and that is one of the beautiful things about videotaping. We get to curate, we get to present our unstained barefoot selves as though we were immaculately dressed and shod. I did shower, however. I know you'll be relieved to know that. Let's get started. All right, so I've got a couple of different things here. The linen background that I'm showing are a couple of different beiges. So this one here, this one which has a little more sort of gold to it, and then this one which is a lighter tone and could go nicely with either of these. I then have this, which is a green, but it's got a lot of yellow in it. And then this one, which is a gray, but it has more blue in it. So if I'm picking out threads, these are all a 5-weight House of Embroidery different threads, and I think about a project I'm working on, and I think, well, these might be really nice all together, and sort of put them together in kind of shades, right? And I think these all work with this background. Now, if I carry them over here, I think they're all pretty nice with this background too. And I know they're going to go with that lighter one. So I'm going to put them here now. And they even go with this background. There's a similarity here. And since this I know already works nicely with all of these, chances are it's going to be okay with these. It's got kind of that autumnal look. And then we have this, which I think is interesting. I think there's problems here. So if I take these away and I just put this, you know, it's not clashing. It's not terrible. But let's say I pull something out like this. I know there's a lot of gold and yellow in here. And the gold and the yellow with the blue-gray can, to my eyes, be somewhat problematic. If I take anything like this, to me, this is really fighting each other. This is as well. Even the chartreuse. To my mind, these are not attractive combinations. So the greens, the yellows, the oranges, but even something like this, it's not as terrible, but it is still jarring to me. But if I pull out something there, now we've got something close. But then what do we go with this? So now I might add a little something like that. So what I do, maybe I add even a little of the gold in here. I could certainly add some of this gray. Might even be okay if I add a little of this rose blush. So what I like to do is I like to start with a background color and then find something that really looks nice with it, right? So here we have it. That's really lovely. And now I'm going to start adding things. So maybe I add something like this. And then if I want to add a touch of something, I might throw in something like that. And that's really pretty. But if I just grab something and I say, well, I really want this kind of green, and then I say, well, and now I want to add this blue. Well, I don't know about you, but this is hard for me to look at. I find these all to be fighting with each other. They don't seem to get along. And something like this might be okay if it was just a little tiny accent of it. So it's important to be fluid and be able to take something like this and then build upon it. So, maybe I do these. Maybe I add a little of my gold, my wood's gold. And maybe if I want, I could even add a little of this. Or I could add something like that even. Just a little bit of it, not much. This is starting to get a little too yellow again with that gray. Maybe I throw in a kind of blue of some kind. This would be pretty. And it's got a little magenta-y feel to it. This smoky haze could be pretty as well. So that's really what I do. I take my background and I start throwing threads at it and just see which ones, if any, seem to work better than others. If it's just a mess, I might reconsider my background. This is a tougher one to work with than, say, this background. All those autumnal colors are probably going to be really lovely. I mean, this would be a really pretty accent color. So there's so much green in here that any of the reds, pinks, going into the blues, the violets, the purples are going to look really nice with the green. So this isn't going to look great, right? I mean, look at that. Yikes. Not soothing. Do you feel it? Does it feel different to you when you see it? When I see it, I look at these and I think, okay, that works. When I look at this, no. It's too much of this yellow lime color. Even as an accent, I wouldn't use this. If I wanted an accent, I would probably go with something like this. This is quite lovely, just as a bigger piece. This also, that could work. This, you could probably get away with using it as an accent. Just a little something, a little shot of something. I wouldn't want much of this though. And honestly, with all my other choices, I wouldn't go with that. Then there's this, lovely. This as an accent, it works. And this could be an okay accent, as could that even. So as I said, I think so much of this is subjective. I think it's really about when you look at a color, how do you feel when you see that color with this? If you feel calm, then that's a good one to have. It's not bad to have something that's jarring. That's nice to mix it up a little, add a little something to make it of interest. So it's really about using color to excite, draw attention, and create a little drama. But you don't want it so overwhelming and overpowering that it takes away from the whole thing. If you're going for something unsettling, then those are the colors you're going to do. You're going to start pulling things like that. But even so, you don't, it's almost as though when you mix a lot of colors together, you're going to get a kind of muddy brown. To my mind, it's almost as though my brain, it just starts to muddy it all. It just can't cope with it. It kind of, somewhere it sort of starts to shut down. For the things that I'm doing in stitching, I'm really looking for things that are more, I think, creating some interest, but not so incongruous that I'm sort of looking away. So when I did my River Rocks pouch, I started with this side, and I felt I just really wanted to add some color. So I did. I added some of these colors. And then when I started doing the back, I worked on a lot of colors. I made it much more colorful. And I love the back. But I do love that you have both, that you have this sort of much more in the neutrals with just a little flash of color and then a lot of color back here. But if I'm going to change this blue background and suddenly I'm going to make this a gray, I have to be really careful with these threads that I've chosen that look nicely with this blue, because they may not necessarily look well, and I have to be particularly careful of the yellows I'm using. Yellow is a tough one, and it does not play nicely with many of the backgrounds. You just have to be aware of that when you're working with yellow. The other colors, they can, I mean, this would be pretty. This would be pretty because it's got enough gold. It's not got that pure yellow. Even these, all of these, again, if I went with a gray, I think I'd have a harder time. This one, not loving that quite so much. This one's fine. It's those autumnal colors that work well. And then, of course, these all look really nicely and would be quite stunning, I think, with this as its background, because you're getting that kind of autumnal feel. And even this sort of light blue, this robin's egg blue, would be fine because it's just a tiny little bit. If you haven't played with color, do try different colors. See what speaks to you and what doesn't. You'll find that for me, I happen to know right off the bat that yellow is problematic for me for whatever reason. I don't know. It always has been. I used yellow, but I don't use a great deal of it. I'm talking about taxicab yellow. The variations in yellow can be fabulous. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and don't forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button and the little bell that pops up for email notifications. Leave me comments in the comments section. And until next time, here's to exploring and stitching together.